Ready? Okay, we will convene our council meeting today, July 9th, 2024. We always begin our meetings with our land acknowledgement. The municipality of Tweed recognizes that our work takes place on traditional Indigenous territories, including the Huron-Wendat, Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee peoples. We recognize and respect the history, languages, and cultures of the First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and all Indigenous peoples, whose presence continues to enrich our communities. Which could you please join us now in singing about Canada? Well, everybody get your mics on. Jimmy, mic on. I want to do that voice. Thank you, everyone. And welcome, everyone. It's nice to have a full house. Could I have a mover and a seconder for the approval of today's agenda meeting, please? Thank you, Councilor Valiquette. Thank you, Councilor Fleeler. Be it resolved that the agenda for the July 9th, 2024 regular council meeting be approved as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. I'll just mention now, Councilor Palmatier is going to have to leave at 11 o'clock. He has another meeting, so if he leaves, you'll know why. Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder for the adoption of the July 25th, 2024 regular council meeting minutes, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. Thank you, Councilor Palmatier. Any questions on said minutes? Seeing none, be it resolved that the minutes of the June 25th, 2024 regular council meeting be adopted as presented. All in favor? Thank you. There will be a closed meeting. Council will hold a closed meeting during the regular council meeting pursuant to section 2392 of the Municipal Act 2001 SO 2001 C25 as amended to consider the following matters. Item B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. We'll move on to my mayor's remarks. I would like to begin today's council meeting by extending a thank you and congratulations to the Tweed Hungerford Agricultural Fair Board, volunteers and sponsors for a wonderful event. I so enjoyed walking the grounds and taking in the cattle judging competition. We would also like to congratulate Sharon Rajat, a 2024 recipient of the June Colwood Hospice Award. The June Colwood Award was established in 1994 by the Hospice Association of Ontario, now Hospice Palliative Care Ontario, to acknowledge and thank outstanding hospice volunteers throughout Ontario. On June 26, I attended the Walk and Talk Strawberry Social, which was hosted by Gateway Community Health Centre. That evening, I attended the Heart of Hastings Hospice AGM. On June 27th, I attended the 75th anniversary celebrations of Hawkins Cheesies. It was a festive celebrations with many references to their beginnings in Tweed. We are making arrangements for the Hawkins Cheesies team to come to Tweed so that we can present our own award to celebrate the big anniversary. They've been so supportive of our community events, but always providing complimentary bags of cheesies. That evening, I attended the Belleville General Hospital Foundation Board and AGM meeting. I will be taking on the role of treasurer for the foundation, as well as the chair of the finance committee. On the 28th, I was invited by Tweed Public School Principal Derek Potts to participate in their year-end professional development day. It was an opportunity for me as mayor to elaborate on the challenges we are facing as a municipality, as well as an opportunity to celebrate what this municipality has accomplished. In these dire times, we cannot lose sight that we have much to be thankful for. On the 29th, we attended the Francine Honey concert hosted by the Tweed Music Festival Group, which was staged at the Marble Arts Center. Francine hails from the municipality of Tweed and is the daughter of Claude and Georgette Leclerc. It was an incredibly uplifting performance. Francine is multi-talented and instrumentally gifted. She has certainly done her hometown proud as an international award-winning singer and songwriter. She's an Americana recording artist, producer, and director, and I'm looking forward to her return. On the 30th, I attended the Trenton Air Show celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Air Force. I was part of the Hastings County contingent. Also on the 30th, the Tweed Lions Club launched their 2024 season, and I'm thankful that Deputy Mayor Demarche was there to bring greetings from council. On July 1st, I was joined by Deputy Mayor Demarche and Councillors Fleeler and Valiquette as we marched in our Canada Day parade. There were so many young people in attendance. Our bags of treats were empty before we reached the end of the parade route. It was so inspiring. Also, snow cones, hot dogs, and cupcakes were enjoyed by all those who attended the games at the arena. Over 600 in attendance. It all finished with an amazing fireworks display. Thank you, Rochelle Hardesty, Cindy Chow, and all the volunteers who made this Canada Day one to remember. Thank yous abound as we recognize Riley Lindsay for singing the national anthem, Jim Keniston for marshalling the parade, and the Tweed Fire Department for their assistance with the parade, and our generous sponsors, Celebrate Canada Heritage Fund, Hawkins Cheesies, Palmetier Meats, Tom's Value Mart, and Generations Carpentry. Also, thank you to the Legion for hosting a Canada Day party for us older folks. Deputy Mayor Demarche, please extend our appreciation to the OPP who were in attendance for this year's parade. On July 3rd, Deputy Mayor Demarche and I met with Jason Ruth from Royer Homes at their demonstration site. It was an opportunity for us to learn about their tiny homes development. We will be inviting Jason to attend a council meeting as a delegation so that we can all learn more about this exciting initiative. Later that afternoon, I attended the presentation of the Prime Minister's Excellence in Teaching Award to Angela Bird in Madoc Township. On July 4th, I attended the Kiwanis Executive Committee meeting. That evening, we made our way to the Marble Arts Center for the one-man show, Our Little Secret, a wonderful, heartwarming production that had you experiencing all the emotions. On the 6th, I spent the afternoon enjoying the fair. We are still in the process of obtaining quotes for replacement of the Queensborough and Ross bridges. We decided to solicit funds for both bridges since redirecting traffic to the Ross Bridge will ultimately shorten its lifespan more than originally anticipated. Last week, I sent letters to Minister Surma, Provincial Minister of Infrastructure, and to Minister Fraser, Federal Minister of Housing, Infrastructure and Communities. These letters were intended to give both ministers a heads up as to our current infrastructure crisis and the need for financial assistance. MPP Rick Rissy and MP Shelby Crampton-Neyman were CC'd on the letters. They are both well aware of our current state of affairs. As I noted last meeting, Kingston MPP Ted Hsu accepted our invitation for a bridge tour in our ongoing effort to highlight our infrastructure dilemma. In true form, MPP Hsu did not hold back posting pics of our crumbling infrastructure, highlighting our pleas for help. I've appended his pictures and commentary to my mayor's remarks. Our politicians need to know that small rural municipalities are facing an insurmountable infrastructure deficit and that rural communities need financial rural help. Thank you, MPP Hsu. I'll just read what he wrote. This month, I had the opportunity to visit the municipality of Tweed to inspect their aging rural infrastructure, specifically several bridges that are falling into disrepair. The municipality has 53 bridges to maintain, and they think the total accumulated infrastructure deficit is potentially $120 million. They estimate that they have to set aside $11 million a year to cover costs for infrastructure costs, about $1,800 per person per year, while their annual budget is around $5 million, and that's all spoken for. Tweed isn't an anomaly. They are just one of many rural municipalities that don't have the money to fix or replace old infrastructure, and they aren't getting enough support from this government. That's it. Thank you. Moving on. So delegations, we have a delegation. I invite Gianni Cessanzo, if you would come up to the microphone there, Gianni, and Well, Johnny is representing the Actinolite Hall Committee and Beautification Committee. I'm going to ask you to share with us what is on the agenda.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Councilors. My name is John Sanzo, Community Volunteer. The reason I'm here today is a clarification of the parking facilities in Actinolite, the community hall. I'm aware that anybody can park there, and also we have the Marble Arts, man, the beautiful place now, and there's construction involved. It's all understandable, but I noticed that when there are events, everybody uses every parking spot can put their hands on. So we need a clarification that the parking lots that we have at the hall, at community property, municipal property, the Marble Arts is a different enterprise, private enterprise, and there's no quarrels on that. And sometimes the Marble Arts coincides with events in the hall, and I would like to emphasize that the hall rentals that should have priority on these parking lots or spots. Also, we have the old municipal office, and hopefully will turn into daycare. So a few more parking spots will be gone. I don't think it's going to affect the hall too much, but we have to rectify the problem of the Marble Arts using our spots when I have the hall rented. Like I said, we need a priority for the elderly. We have people that pay Yucca there for 20 years, and I don't want them to walk from the other parking lot that we have just on the northeast side, which should be cleaned a little bit once in a while. So basically, well, we need signage, and if there's an event or two events at the same time, either redirect the traffic like 2 weeks ago, because we had the family rented a hall, and there was some elderly, and man, the cars coming out of nowhere, and so I had to redirect the traffic with some help. So now, where does this responsibility go to? Like, who's going to direct the traffic? And I can't be there all the time. And we got to do something to accommodate everybody. The demographic is changing fast in Actinolite. Like we have the Marble Arts, the apartments, hopefully the daycare. It's going to be like a little tweet over there. So yeah, so I just ask your help to figure this thing out and see how we're going to deal with it. And hopefully whatever a resolution to this issue. And I'd like to mark the parking spots also, so we can accommodate maybe cars properly. They don't park all over the place. And the handicap parkings, I think they should put some down at the Marble Arts, and because I don't see any there. So, and we only have one handicap parking at the hall. So now we have to kind of figure, we can expand the parking maybe towards the east side or whatever. I don't know. That's, we have to figure this out. But I cannot allow other people to park there when, well, I can't do anything. It's just I don't want people to walk especially in the winter. So we have to accommodate them first, and that's my my issue here. And I'd like to thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Gianni. You've raised a number of good points in regards to the marking of parking spots, and then also identifying parking spots as handicap or accessible parking spots. I'm going to ask that we look at that in the budget, okay, to take into account what we might be able to do there. Also, I do believe that when you have an event, that parking in front of the hall should be dedicated to the hall, because the people who are booking the hall expect that to have that parking. And so I think maybe what we can do is we can look at crafting a sign, like you said, because you can't be there all the time, which says like for the days where you have the hall booked, that we have signs that say parking restricted to Actinolite Hall parking today. So something like that. And then also for you and Tim to maybe share events.
Communication would be nice, some information that communicated with each other. So
and I think they have a program which outlines everything, but I make sure
some days a little bit of miscommunication. I
Yeah.
understand that. I mean, everybody's busy,
Sure.
you know, and also, like I said, I don't know where to get, I mean, there's construction going on. It's
Yeah, that's the other
understandable,
thing.
you know, like, so
Yeah, that's
No,
taking
but-
last bit.
those are my priority and, you know.
Well, thank you very, and,
Okay, thank you.
and personally, thank you very much for all that you and your team do for Actina Light. And as you say, it is a hot spot, and that's good. That's
Thank
good news. Does anybody have any questions, comments? See none. Thanks a lot, Jim.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Oh, yes, please. Thank you very much for coming and joining us. Could I have a mover and a seconder for tabling the statement of revenue and expenditures, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarsh, and thank you, Councillor Valley-Ket. I just want to, are there any questions? I think I'm good on this report. Okay. Seeing none? Oh, yes, please go ahead, Councillor Falila.
Your worship, it's just a continuous thorn on everybody's side. I got a few questions, but the one most important is the lack of support from the province for, land they owe taxes on. We're $11,000 behind. Like, I mean, we can't afford to keep this going. So if I don't pay my taxes, my land comes up for sale. Why don't we do the same thing? No questions asked, just do it.
Go ahead. I've already raised this with Gloria. Go ahead, go ahead.
Under the provincial legislation, government agencies are not allowed to ever pay taxes. So we can't do a tax sale on them because they're not subject to tax. What they have done for certain properties that are owned by governments that generate a type of business activities, so ones where if MNRF holds some forestry land, like logging operation type land, or land where hydro runs through on the massive scale, the big wires go running through for the network and the grid, then they authorize that a grant could be paid equivalent to what the property tax lost would be. However, because it is a grant, they have the choice to either pay it or not pay it. And there's nothing legislatively we can specifically do. I am still in the middle of drafting the letter as was requested by council at the last meeting in regards to the province reconsidering the specific 2 lots that they don't typically pay. It's very specific to just 2 lots that we haven't seen money from for the last couple of years. But unfortunately, there's nothing under legislation that can allow us to force them to pay, nor can we go through a tax sale process because they are not subject to tax because governments are not allowed to pay tax.
Go ahead.
So your worship, I appreciate that, but all these, lack of payments fall directly on the backs of the taxpayers who can't afford to pay what we're paying now. So I mean,
Well, what we'll do is we'll proceed with this letter, likely going to fall on deaf ears. But once it does, then we can become more vocal about it. We'll even reach out, as we have been, to the opposition parties who can also raise these kinds of things, because we're not the only community that is experiencing this. You know, and as you said, like, you know, we're all struggling for dollars. They used to, and then sporadically they do, they don't, they do, they don't. Should be consistent in their approach. So we will pursue it. Thank you.
and your worship, I don't know if I should say this out loud, but they have taxpayers' dollars to destroy the Ontario Science Center. I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, be resolved that council receive the variance analysis report as of June 2024 as presented. All in favor. Thank you. Moving on to departmental reports. Could I have a move and a seconder for the confirmation of budget report in-house versus contractors as tabled by the CAO? And thank you, Councillor Valley-Ket. Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarsh. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to both you and Ryan. I'll start with you.
Yeah.
If you would, Laura.
So at the last council meeting, when we were discussing budget priorities and scheduling budget dates, there was a request from one council member that didn't make it actually formally into a motion about having comparison of doing our services in-house versus contractor for as many services as possible. We've got looking at the process and the work that would be involved, and it's going to be very onerous. So we just need to make sure that that this is something that all of council is wishing, and that maybe specific ones that you want to look at, because it's going to take us a long time to do a lot of them. So if there is some that you want to specifically see, if we're given a very specific direction as to which one, then that will help us adjust our time accordingly when we're preparing our budgets.
Comment.
Your worship, I guess a couple of the pieces here that I was wondering about mainly was the snow removal services and graveling the roads. Because I know in the past we've used our own trucks, and we've also used like tractor trailers from, for example, Danford's construction with the belly dumps. So just be interesting to know, because we really do wear the trucks with that. So those were kind of the ones that I picked out
Okay.
from this.
Ryan?
Your worship, the council, if this is something we want to explore, we can put it out there. We can get some numbers and see which is more economical for us.
So streamlining the request just down to those two.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead, Deputy Mayor Marsh.
I agree with Councillor Palmer. I think it's something we need to explore and know for ourselves whether we're doing it the right way, most economical way or not, so.
Yes, Councillor Fleeler.
Your worship, I think in the past, we've been purchasing gravel from different, construction firms, and now that we have our own gravel supply, I don't know if we'd have to hire the trucks, and a belly dump is perfect for spreading gravel, but
Yeah, the main reason, your worship, that I picked out these two specific things is the cost of our trucks.
yeah.
The extremely high
Yeah.
cost of our trucks and the high cost of maintenance on our trucks.
Yeah.
So just seeing if we can maybe go to doing maintenance ourselves on some of those roads, say grading and cutting, but removing some of that wear and tear.
I think also we have to take into account that you're also looking at snow removal and perhaps a different approach to it as well. So I think that should enter into these discussions when you get to that stage.
Through your worship, the council, I have spoke to a couple other municipalities around the area. They're actually, like Councillor Palmetier had said, looking at having a contractor come in and do all these just for the simple fact of the cost per hour on these trucks. And it just, sometimes it doesn't make sense to have them run the roads constantly when you could have someone else kind of put the wear and tear on their vehicles. So I can look into that and get some numbers back.
Thank you. Okay. So then let me go to the
Yeah,
motion.
It was just looking to make sure we narrowed it down, because if we had to do everything, you wouldn't be seeing a budget for a year and a half.
No, that's
Sorry, Ryan, put it all on you.
okay. Be it resolved. Any other comment, question? Seeing none, be it resolved that council receive the confirmation of budget of the in-house versus contract report as presented, and further that council direct staff to proceed with comparisons of in-house operations versus contractual obligations for snow removal and graveling. Right? Good. All in favor? Thank you. We have a mover and a seconder to table the administration update as of July 3rd, 2024, please. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette, and thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Any questions on the administration department update? I don't have any. Seeing none, be it resolved that council received the administration department update as of July 3rd, 2024 as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Quarterly reports. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the quarterly reports to council, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarche, and thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Any questions on those reports? Can't. I don't see any either. So I just want to check the other. Okay, no, I'm good. Okay, be it resolved, the council received the quarterly reports to council report as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Moving on to the Public Works Manager, Bridge Maintenance. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the Bridge Maintenance Program update, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarche. Thank you, Councillor Valley Cat. Any questions on the update? I will say that I'm very pleased with the efforts that you've made, and I'm glad to see that we actually have a bridge maintenance program now in place. So thank you very much for introducing that, Ryan. Are there any questions? Yes, Deputy Mayor DeMarche.
The Mayor of the Public Works, is it this year, Ryan, that our OSUM is being done?
Yes.
Yes, and when will we get that?
Fall.
Through his worship to Deputy Mayor DeMarche, my apologies. They should be in by September, middle of September. We're gonna have the full report available.
Okay, thank you.
Any comments, questions? Seeing none. Be it resolved, the council accept the bridge maintenance program update as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Public Works Department, could I have a mover and a seconder to table the Public Works Department update, please? Thank you, Councillor Valley-Cat. Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Any questions on that update? Yes, go ahead, Deputy Mayor DeMarche.
Pull it up here. So one of the recommendations I noticed earlier that we had, one of the recommendations in this, report is, the awarding of the fuel contract. Now it says here 4 of the 5 were disqualified. I have a couple of questions here. So, with this contract, how much are we saving? We have nothing to compare it to with any other contracts here.
We have nothing else to compare it to. At this point, it's the process of doing it and being competitive and putting it out there and essentially getting prices on to do this more efficiently, economically.
So in comparison to what we're paying now, how much would this new contract save us?
At this moment, I haven't got the firm numbers yet. I'm still waiting on to see what Stinson's could supply us. I'm still waiting on those numbers, but we'd have to go back before the tender was put out to see what we've been paying and a cost breakdown from our current supplier. Until we have those numbers, there's no exact number on it yet.
And just, sorry, Mayor, just one more follow-up. I think we have a recommendation without any backup information. And I think too, when it comes to locally supplied goods, whether it's a tire, whether it's fuel, whether it's sandwiches, the economic spin-off has to be taken into account in all pricing. I mean, it says something about outdated equipment here as well. Have we approached our local supplier about updating our equipment and given the chance to update? I mean, this isn't just a matter of pricing, in my opinion. You're dealing with a company that pay taxes here that employs 20 or 25 employees. They all pay taxes and spend money here. This is a big spin-off, and I don't think, this is my opinion, an outside company could compete with those logistics.
I would like to remind Deputy Mayor DeMarche that this council unanimously said that they wanted to go contract tender. Okay, and when you go contract tender, okay, you accept the tenders that come in. And if we did not want to do that, and if we wanted to follow through on what you're saying, we should never have gone through contract tender in the first place. But bearing in mind that my understanding from the contracts, the 4 that were turned down, they were turned down because they did not acknowledge and address the certain issues or things that were required in the contract. And according to our bylaw, which was approved by a previous council, was that if anything is not addressed accordingly as requested within the tender, they are automatically disqualified. So then if you don't proceed with the acknowledgement of the contract as awarded, then what do we do with Stinson? They have been awarded the contract, and now all of a sudden we're saying, no, we're going to pull it back. I think that the logistics are going to be extremely difficult. Go ahead, Councillor Palmetier, and then if you want to say something.
Your worship, I don't believe it was our choice to contract. I believe, or to put out a tender. I believe it's the dollar values we had to.
Mhm.
I do find it strange that 4 had something incorrect. 4 of them had something incorrect. And if it was 2 had something incorrect, I think everything was okay. But it really makes me question if this tender was put out the right way to get the correct response. I understand they have to fulfill the obligation that we put out there, but maybe it's different than typically what they're used to tendering.
What I'm
Um,
gonna do is I'm gonna ask Gloria to highlight for you what the difference is. Can you, Gloria, just so we know, because I had that same question.
Yeah, I don't have all of them in front of me to remember all of them, but there were some that had not submitted the requested rack rate. Sorry, is that the right term? Daily rack rate with the example as required with all future invoicing. There were some that did not acknowledge the addendum, which was specifically requested that they had to acknowledge that there was an addendum underneath the pay schedules. And one of them was the calculations in the formulas had errors, and as per our Schedule B, errors in calculations, missing information, or requested information is an automatic rejection per Schedule B of our procurement policy. So staff have no choice but to reject it based on those items.
Go back to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, your worship, from what I see, like, I know Stinson used to be a small town, Eastern Ontario fuel company. They've grown leaps and bounds. To me, I think that's the difference we're seeing here. We're seeing a large company that's used to handling massive municipalities and handling these types of things when it comes to a tender, when fuel delivery and pricing maybe doesn't need to be that complicated at a smaller scale, and that's why we didn't receive the tenders we were expecting.
My
Personally-
understanding that Woods is now owned by a larger company. I don't know. Is that correct?
I believe they were sold, I think it was last year, when the previous owner, the Mr. Woods, had decided, I believe, to retire. I believe they are now owned by a Quebec company, I believe.
Personally, I think when you see that many incorrect, that you have to retender. That's just my opinion. I'll let the others speak.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Councillor Valley.
So I think that all of the companies out there today, whether it's a local one or one that's from somewhat further away, should be dialed in enough to know that they need to answer the questions on the tender. If they fail to do that, or it's done incorrectly, we clearly have a bylaw that directs us on what to do or what not to do. And we should follow that. In my opinion.
Councillor Flaylor.
So your worship, did the tender call out for like, I think there was upgrade of, this company's supposed to upgrade the tanks and different things. Was that specified in the contract? In the tender?
Through his worship to Councillor Fleeler. It was part of the tender. We were asking for, essentially, we didn't come out and say it, but it's implied that we wanted new tanks as well, new equipment. Whoever the successful bidder was, that they would be willing to do that.
Any other questions? Now, we have a report here, and also we're now discussing a tender here. So we will be voting on two different things then, or like,
Right now, we have one motion that is attached. If you're wanting to split the motion and have the motion for accepting the report separate from a motion for awarding the bid, that can be done. You just need to amend the motion that's on the table, which right now is to accept the report and award the contract.
what is the desire of council in that regard? Separate?
Separate, yeah.
Okay, so do we need a move in a second, or Lucas, to do to change the motion?
No, if you're unanimously ready to just amend that, we'll just amend that to accepting the Public Works Department update. And then
And-
someone else can table and then.
Okay, so be it resolved, the council accept the Public Works update department as presented. All in favor? Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder to table the awarding of, it just disappeared. You gonna put it back, or?
Give me 1 second.
Let me just see, can I have it, is it in there?
It'll be in the report.
Okay, so it was bid, okay, award bid number 310-2024-04 Stinson Fuels. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table that, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Could I have a seconder? Thank you. Thank you very much, Councillor Palmetier. All in favor? Okay, motion defeated. Gloria, I need to know a report from you what Stinson's rights are in regards to challenging an award that was awarded. Yes, please go ahead.
Through his worship to council, this hasn't been awarded. We are putting the award out right now. So if we did not pass that, then it will not be awarded. They were the successful bid,
Okay,
but maybe Gloria could clarify a bit more on that. She would
okay. Go ahead.
I would need to do some legal research and confirm with the lawyer as to any negative impacts that we would need to be considering. That's all.
Okay, I guess then, but
Can
we
I have
do
a
let
couple of days?
Stinson know that the bit, I guess the decision has been made by this council that the award will not go to Stinson, so they need to be advised that all were turned down. In the meantime, you look and see what the implications are. And then, do we as council want to retender? I don't know how that would work. Nobody's results were issued, right? Like, no costs or.
We did share with the successful net amount with some of the unsuccessful bidders. So yes, it has
So
been
that-
released.
Okay, so now we're at so they have proprietary information from the other ones that bid on it. Brian?
worship to council. It was net pricing. There was no other information shared, so there would be no proprietary information. Essentially, it would be we asked in the tender for firm rate discounts, things like that, but none of that shared. It would be the net costing. Whether someone want to go and try and do the math on where they came up with those numbers would be up to them.
Okay, so that doesn't impact the bidding process. Yes, go ahead, Councilor Flynn.
Your worship, it's pretty hard to make a decision when you just see this the first time. I know that they put the tender out, but I think there should have been more information provided by all the people that put the tenders in, even though,
Oh, I see
even
what
if
you
we
mean.
had, even if we had to go into a closed session to review it. Like I said,
Good point.
it's hard to just look at this and say yay or nay, my opinion, but.
Councilor Palmetier.
Your worship, on the topic of tendering, we used to have a form, and I understand that form's outdated because it brought in some features that may be seen as discriminatory now, such as location of the enterprise and such. But it would be nice to have, like, even if it just said who they were and how they ranked in each of their qualities, whether price, they were number 1, number 2, number 3, and then reputation, or I don't know if you want to put, but
this-
you know, to break it.
I know what you're
down.
requesting. In this case, we wouldn't have done any ranking because there was only one that was not automatically
Yeah, I'm
rejected,
just-
but yes.
Just speaking going forward, because it is, I know in this situation is different, but it has been vague in the
I
past
would like to
times.
build on Councilor Palmetier's though, even though the ones that weren't successful, even if we did see a list, why they weren't successful, like ranking them, like,
Like disqualified for improper
Yeah.
calculations, disqualified, omitted, section. Like
That's right.
1, 2, and 3. It'd be helpful
Yeah.
to know.
And then like we are invited to the opening of the tenders if we wanted to, and because it's considered private, because we don't want the release of private proprietary information to the public. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Marsh.
So through the mayor, in future, I think I heard the word implied. I think we should be asking for specifics and not hoping that tender bidders catch on to what we're wanting. So I think you need to have specific asks in your tenders as well.
The other thing is that I just want to make sure that we have not burnt that bridge with Stinson, because this is a public meeting. They will have heard that it came up that they were going to be awarded the contract, so we need to reach out to them and actually ensure that like, that we're the reasons why we may have to redo this. Anyway, I would like you to find out about the legal implications. Yes, go ahead, Councillor Valiquette.
So does this mean we need to look at the bylaw?
Totally.
Because if we're going to question the fact that a supplier or provider is incapable of following the directions, and then we're going to open the tender back up
Mhm.
to accommodate their inability,
Mhm.
what's the point of the bylaw that we currently have?
Exactly. Gloria?
Through the mayor to all of council, that one is scheduled for being reviewed and updated. My plan was for September or October. So it is one on the list for this year for update and review. But
And I also like, if we do that, what are the implications of changing the bylaw for down the road? Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none. Let's move on. Yeah, we already voted on this. Sorry, I'm just gonna call this back up. Community development. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the arena user group insurance, please? Mover and a seconder. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh. Thank you, Councilor Valley Cat. Any questions? Yes, Deputy Mayor Marsh.
Through the mayor to Rochelle. Just with this new requirement, how would that affect the amount of users at the arena? Like,
I don't anticipate that it'll affect anyone. Other arenas, municipalities require insurance for different leagues and groups. I have spoken with a couple of the user groups and they were not surprised that this was going to be coming to the table.
I think it's very important. We don't want to hold liabilities huge these days, and I think we got to cover ourselves. So. Any other questions? Yes, Councilor Baum.
Through the mayor, is there any way that we can have not necessarily a program, but like I'm thinking of some of the just single hourly rentals weekly, some of those groups, you may have difficulty sourcing insurance at the start.
So through the mayor to all of council and Councilor Palmetier, I have reached out to McDougall Insurance here in Tweed, the Rayburn Insurance, the branch of, it looks like that our insurance under a blanket would be able to provide them with additional insurance. I'm just waiting back from our insurance company to get more of the pricing, but I have been following up with that.
Thank you very much, Michelle.
through the mayor, how would this affect, say, Jane Doe that wants to rent the arena for an hour for a birthday or something? Do they gotta provide insurance in that instance?
It would be through the mayor to Deputy Mayor DeMarche. That would be up to council. I was more looking at those that have contract agreements. We could open it up to everyone, but those that do sign, the groups that do sign a contract, this is what I was pertaining to. Because we do blanket insurance for public skating and stuff like this. This was more of organized hockey and skating.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? See none, be it resolved that council receive the arena user group insurance as presented, and further that council approve the recommendation to have each arena user group to provide insurance naming the municipality of Tweed on the certificate. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the Community Development Department update, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarche. Thank you, Councillor Valley-Cat. Any questions on said report? Also, Rochelle, just in your listing of activities, don't forget there's the plowing match in August.
That's in Sterling again. There's a Sterling?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Sterling, thank you. Okay, good, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, be it resolved that council receive the Community Development Department update as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a move and a second to table the Community Improvement Plan Request 2037085 Ontario Inc., please? Move and a seconder. Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarche. Thank you, Councillor Valley-Cat. Any questions? Comments? No?
Glad to see our money being used.
Be it resolved that council receive the Community Improvement Plan request report as presented, and further that council approve the request for 2037085 Ontario Inc. Okay, maybe I'll just mention that this is located 4 Jameson Street, so the public knows what we're talking about. Thank you very much. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a move and a second to table the community improvement plan request, Tweed and Area Historical Society, please? Move in a seconder. Jim? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh. Any questions on said request? Yes, please go ahead, Councillor Fleur.
Through his worship to, I guess Gloria. Gloria, are there any grants available for accessibility still? I don't, I was gonna ask Rochelle, but like, I mean, this is a necessity and it's accessibility. There have been many grants over the past few years. I don't know if there's still an opportunity there or not.
So say, I know we are always on the lookout for accessibility grants for the municipality, as there are still some accessibility upgrades that we require to be completed as well. I am not aware of any that are open at this second for nonprofit agencies.
Or Rochelle has.
Yeah, go ahead, Rochelle.
Through the mayor to Councillor Fleeler, there is the Enabling Accessibility Grant. We applied for it. You can see it in my Parks and Rec report, as well as just the other day I did assist with not writing, but assisted with some questions that another organization had. So I believe the Heritage Center is aware of the Enabling Accessibility Fund, but I can reach out to them to let them know that. But the Enabling Accessibility Fund, I believe, closes July 20th. I have to confirm that, but there is that grant that is available at this time.
Great, thank you.
So, okay, what do we do here? Do we approve the request?
Yes.
Okay, and then also apply for the funding?
No. To the mayor, this is for our own CIP funding. So to approve the request for this project, I think that what Councillor Fleeler is saying is maybe that there's larger projects out there that people may be seeking funding, but this just is for our CIP.
Okay. I do have a concern. No, this is fine. I do have a concern. I was reading a report that by 2025, all of the accessibility that concerns that have been addressed since 2010 or whatever are to be implemented. Everything, and they're saying that the government and all of us are so far behind in the implementation of the new standard. Could you look into that, Gloria, just to find out what this is in regards to 2025, what has to be done and what might be the implications for the municipality?
We do have to file a report every 2 years in regards to that. The last one that we filed, we were on target with everything.
Okay.
Basically, as it stands right now, most of our buildings, if we do any construction to them, we are required to include the accessibility component. If we build new, it must be fully accessible, and we've started making sure most of our buildings have accessible washrooms, which is why a year and a half ago, we did the one here near the council chambers, and we've been looking for funding to try to do the one at the arena.
Are there any implications for businesses?
Governments are first. Businesses get an extra 2 or 3 years, from my understanding.
As my understanding is, what I heard is everything has to be done by 2025. So
I'll have to look into that, because I know that the government agencies and organizations were about 3 or 4 years to be done before all of the others.
Okay, so back to this one. Yes, go ahead.
And your worship, just another one, the CBOs haven't been given the final revision of all this yet either. So, I mean, it's pretty tough to draw it in the sand where, a final date.
Yeah.
And the final revision hasn't been completed yet.
Okay, so be it resolved that council receive the community improvement plan request report as presented, and further the council approve the request for the from the Tweed and Area Historical Society. All in favor? Thank you. Parks and Recreation. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the Parks and Recreation Department update, please? Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Any questions on the said report? Yes, go ahead. Councillor Valiquette.
To the manager, so I'm curious about the canteen awarding. What's that based on, Michelle?
The points were for the mayor to Councillor Valiquette. Points were based on menu, pricing, reputation.
ability to meet the requested tender. I think there was only the 5 categories that there was 6 or 7 people who had evaluated all of the submissions.
Okay, thank you. Did we, I'm not sure if we all, okay, that be it resolved, the council receive the Parks and Recreation Department update as presented, all in favor. Thank you. Moving on to the fire chief, could I have a mover and a seconder to table the fire department update, July 9th, 2024, please? Thank you, Council Palmetier. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. Any questions on said report? Seeing none. Be it resolved, the council receive the fire department update as presented, all in favor. Thank you. Could I have a move and a second to table the animal control officer report? Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Valiquette, and thank you, Councilor Flayler. Any questions on said report? Any questions? Okay.
Said the wrong me.
Did I?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what we're not.
Darn. Be it resolved, the council received the June 2024 animal control and livestock investigation report as presented, all in favor. Thank you. Now for the heavyweights. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the policy review, code of conduct, health and safety, wellness, workplace, and violence report, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche, and thank you, Councilor Valiquette.
So
Any-
with
Go ahead, Gordon.
just to add to these ones were all put together because the only recommended changes at this time is adding in volunteers. It has been noted that although it's always been somewhat implied and assumed that volunteers, when representing the municipality, must also abide by a code of conduct and not generate violence or harassment in the workplace, it has been identified that we needed to specifically include them as explicitly in the policies. The health and safety, wellness, workplace violence and harassment policy, and the workplace violence and harassment prevention procedure all had to also go through the Joint Health and Safety Committee, and they did meet and they made no other recommendations other than adding in the volunteers. So for these 4, the only change is adding volunteers in anywhere where it's applying also to employees.
I just had a couple of questions, and I'm glad we're including volunteers. On the first one, and I guess it's just going through to looking at, this is the one about employee volunteer code of conduct. We say, what is, I'm sorry, I got comments that flashing up on my screen here. What is, sorry, I can't even see it because my, what is transparent? Why is transparency important? We say as public servants, I think it should be and volunteers. That's on the second page there.
Okay, yep,
Okay.
we can add in including
Okay.
volunteers.
Okay. The other thing is we talk about that we want to make sure that our volunteers are trained and have access. So what is the plan to do that? Like, you know, it's in a policy, but then we have to enact the policy. So I want to
Yeah.
make sure that we follow through on engaging those who are
Yes.
volunteering.
So the first step, the majority of our volunteers are the committee members of our hall committees. And as we do meet with them 4 times a year, the plan was once this policy is approved and passed by law, that these policies and the code of conduct would be reviewed at the beginning of their next joint Hamlet meeting. And then the other ones, we're still sorting out how that will specifically look if we have single event volunteers or those pieces. And we're still sorting out what that's going to look like, whether they have to come an extra 20 minutes early to go through what that looks like for them. And so that way they know they're also to be protected and what they are to do if they feel that they're also under any inappropriate actions against them. So we're sorting out the single individual volunteers at this point, but we already have a plan for the majority of them, which
Okay, thank
typically
you.
are our Hamlet ones.
Any other questions on said policies? Seeing none. Be it resolved that council receive the policy review, code of conduct, health and safety wellness, and workplace violence and harassment policies, and workplace violence and harassment prevention procedure report as presented. And further, the council accept the changes to the policies and procedures as presented. And further, that council direct staff to bring forward the appropriate bylaws at a future council meeting for passing. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the policy review strategic asset management policy, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarche. Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Questions? Gloria, like, I noticed that in this, as we get into detail, it talks about climate mitigation and all of this kind of stuff. We're already struggling with how to adapt and deal with the infrastructure deficit that we have. When we start looking at climate, that increases the cost of the infrastructure considerably. So I think it's good to have it in a report, but how bound are we by the report? Because if we're already struggling to find funds, adding like another 10 to 20% onto a project is going to be almost undoable.
So it is legislated to consider the green aspects. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the exact spot in here or for the climate change. And I want to say that in here, to the furthest extent possible, based on municipal resources is basically the first line and each part for the climate ones, so that when we can afford it, we are to consider it. If there's something where there is no cost impact and there's a more climate better option, then we are to consider the climate better option first and take some extra priority to that. But it is specified in here that it is based on our municipal resources. So if our resources do not permit us to go a full green initiative, then we don't have to, like, we're not bound by it, but we are required to consider it under the legislation.
Okay, and then on page, I think this is just a typo, on page Section 8.3 on page 10 of 42. This is strategic plan 2017 to 2012. I think that's just a typo.
Yeah, that's supposed to say 2017 and 2021.
Okay,
We will fix that.
no problem. Any other questions, comments on the report? Seeing none. Be it resolved that council receive the policy review strategic asset management policy report as presented. And further, that council accept the suggested changes from staff. And further, that staff summarize all public comments received for the August 13th, 2024 regular council meeting for council consideration. And further, that council direct staff to bring forward a bylaw for final approval at a future council meeting if no public comments are received. All in favor? So this report is on our website and it's been advertised in the newspaper and thank you.
Yes, and we'll continue to include it in our future news columns as well. And it is for anyone who is looking and listening, you go to tweed.ca. Along the top is several drop downs under municipal services. You will find asset management near the bottom. In that page, you'll find our current policy, and then right below it, the draft version of the policy open for comment until July 26.
Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the municipal consent policy review, please? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Any questions on the municipal consent policy? So it's down here. Oh, okay. You okay, Councillor Valiquette, to move on? Okay. Or are you just talking to yourself?
Okay.
Oh, geez. Oh my God.
That's fine.
Think I've gotten back into that habit. Days. Okay, just go. That's right, exactly. Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Any questions, comments? Be it resolved that council approve the municipal consent policy as presented, and further that council direct staff to bring forward a bylaw for final approval at a future regular council meeting. All in favor? Thank you.
At least it's only one person,
Yes.
not even called Councillor Cleo.
Okay, could I have someone move and second the committee board reports, please? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette, and thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Any questions? Okay, committee of, so all in favor? Thank you. And now we'll move on to the Committee of Adjustment zoning amendment. Could I have a move and a second to table zoning amendment 711/24 public meeting, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche, and thank you, Councillor Valleycat. Any questions on that particular file? Yes, please go ahead, Deputy Mayor Demarche.
I was trying to find it, maybe somebody else seen it, I didn't, but the letter from Mr. McConaughey is requesting a fence in between the two properties. Did they approve that with that in there, or? I was trying to see that, maybe.
My
I missed it.
understanding is they're building a fence in between the
Okay.
two properties.
Yeah, through the mayor to Deputy Mayor Demarche, the applicant has agreed to address all those concerns
Okay,
from that letter.
okay, thank you.
Yes.
I don't believe we got a recommendation from the committee on
That's right.
this. They put it forward to us for us to discuss. Only because they were concerned about the size of the potential dwelling on the property with the parking. And was that lot big enough, or should it be slightly bigger in future to accommodate a fourplex or some sort of building? But I just briefly spoke to one of the members of the committee. And that's why we're looking at it today without a recommendation.
And this takes into account our new parking guidelines, right, Lucas?
Yeah, through the mayor to all of council, when the parking bylaw is finalized, the applicant's submission here will actually provide more parking than required under the new provisions, yeah.
Are there any other questions or any concerns that you would like to raise? Being that you are a representative on that committee?
Unfortunately, I wasn't actually, I'm not on the variance,
you're on
I'm planning,
holiday.
and I was on holiday, so I don't have firsthand knowledge of the conversation. I would have stuck around for it. I don't know if Lucas has anything that he thinks the committee would like us to be aware of.
I think everything's in the committee board report there that the committee wanted you to be aware of.
Okay. So, be it resolved that council receive the zoning amendment public meeting report as presented, and further that council approve.
Your worship, can I just
Please, wait,
clarify
wait.
before we go ahead? So through the mayor and the deputy clerk, it's just. So with our new provisions that we did at the committee of the whole, this project falls within those guidelines?
Through the mayor to Councillor Palmetier, the only one that would fall within the guidelines is the parking provisions, which we've worked on. The applicant has asked for relief from a number of different areas to meet the requirements to be able to build this fourplex at that particular location. So the site-specific zoning will provide those reliefs to allow him to do that.
Any further questions? Be it resolved that council receive the zoning amendment public meeting report as presented, and further that council allow the development to.
Just through the mayor, you'll probably want to direct staff to bring forward a bylaw at the next regular meeting.
And further that council direct staff to bring forward a bylaw in support of the development for our next council meeting. All in favor? Thank you. Bylaws. Okay, I just want to see if we're doing a blanket here. So we're not doing this as a blanket. Oh, yes, we are. Okay. Yes, go ahead, Councilor Valleycat.
Not to belabor, I'm just trying to find the social media. But in the social media, when I noticed that it said essentially the municipality will monitor Facebook or social media sites Monday to Friday, 8 to 4. And I think that's probably something that we reasonably shouldn't put in there, or we should put in a word sporadically or from time to time. Yeah, because it sounds like we have somebody
Watching, yes, yes,
If
okay.
something comes up that we should be dealing with immediately, it's why didn't you catch that? You're monitoring it 21st, so.
So how about we pull that one out and make that amendment? I just want to go through each of these to see if I have any comments, sorry. Okay, so the social policy one was a bylaw number 224-55. Okay, pulling that one. Okay, and right now we will vote on, be it resolved that council can set items 12.1 bylaw 2024-53. We're pulling out 54. 55. There's bylaw number 2024-40, but there isn't such a bylaw in there. Sorry. So 50.
One should say 54. There
So
was a
okay.
typo there.
54, 12.4. Bylaw number 2024-56, bylaw 2024-57, and bylaw 2024-58 be approved by council. All in favor? Thank you. Now we will address bylaw 2024 55. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the recommendation as presented by Councillor Valiquette? Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. Any questions on that amendment? Be it resolved that council approve the amendment to bylaw number 2024-55 as by council. All in favor? Thank you. Items for consideration. Okay, I have a mover and a seconder to table the council meeting August 13th, 2024 change, please. Changes of dates for notice of council meeting agenda, delegations, notice of motion for August 13th, 2024 council meeting. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Any questions on that? Okay, this is a long one. Therefore, be it resolved that the notice dates and times for the regular meeting scheduled for Tuesday, August 13th, 2024 be amended as follows. 1, Section 4, Roman numeral 8, notice of meeting and availability of meeting agendas shall be published on the electronic agenda platform on the Friday, 1 week before the meeting, being August 2nd, 2024. Section 2, Roman numeral 2, a request for delegation must be received by the clerk not later than 4:30 p.m. on the Wednesday immediately preceding the release of the agenda, being July 29th, 2024. And item 3, section 10, Roman numeral 3, every delegation shall provide to the clerk a detailed summary of the information they wish to share with council. The detailed summary shall be provided not later than 4:30 p.m. on the Wednesday immediately preceding the release of the agenda, being July 29th, 2024. Item 4, section 11, Roman numeral 4, insofar as practicable, a notice of motion shall be given in writing to the clerk not later than 12 p.m. on the Thursday immediately preceding the release of the agenda, being August 1st, 2024, so that matter can be included in the agenda for that meeting. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to move the time of the council meeting from September 3rd, September 3rd, 2024? Mover and a seconder, please. September 3rd.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, okay, scheduled.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Deputy Mayor Demarche and Councillor Palmetier.
We moved it to the 10th, did we not?
It currently is scheduled
For
for
the
the 10th, and the ask was for either moving it from 9 o'clock on the 10th to 1 o'clock, or moving it to the week before on September 3rd at 9 a.m.
That's right. The problem is the Community and Human Services Committee has moved its meeting to the Tuesday morning, that when we normally have our council meeting. So as any of those dates or times. So either 1 o'clock that day or September 3rd at 9, Deputy Mayor Demarche.
I'd like to put forward September 3rd at 9.
Your worship, I'm away September 3rd.
Okay. Would you be able to do the 1 p.m. on the 10th?
I suppose I'll have to be if I'm away on the 3rd.
No, I mean, if you might still be away.
No, I'm away over that long weekend.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Be it resolved that council meeting currently scheduled for Tuesday, September 10th, 2024 at 9 a.m. is hereby rescheduled to September 10th, 2024 at 1 p.m. at 9 a.m. All in favor? Sorry, at 1 p.m. All in favor. Thank you. Canada Mental, can I have a mover and a seconder to table the Canada Mental Health Association Hastings and Prince Edward International Overdose Awareness Day on August 28th, 2024, from 11 to 3 p.m. A mover and a seconder, please. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Any questions on this? I just wanted to make sure, Rochelle, do you know, have they contacted Gateway Community Health Center? I sent this off to Mayo, but you know, I would like to ensure that they're in sync with or go ahead.
To the mayor, I'm unsure, but I can follow up with Gateway on that.
Sure, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Be it resolved that the Canada Mental Health Association, Hastings and Prince Edward have permission to use the Tweed Memorial Park to host the annual International Overdose Awareness Day on Wednesday, August 29th, 2024, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. All in favor? Thank you. Tweed Lions Club. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the Tweed Lions Club ATV run? Tweed Lions Club requests to use the Tweed recreation area, including the washroom, soccer field, and parking at the fairgrounds and track for an ATV run and barbecue to be held September 7th, 2024, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. A mover and a seconder. Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarche. Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Now, when they say to use the soccer field, that's not to park their AVs and stuff on. That's just the one.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Yes, go ahead.
Your
Councillor.
Worship, we need to talk to the Fair Board, I think, regarding this as well, don't we?
No, this is our area.
It's just our property they want? What about the racetrack though?
No,
They have asked to park on the track, which I'm presuming does mean the fairground track. So we can authorize our side. And we would have to direct them to also get Fair Board's permission for the track parking.
Rochelle.
Through the mayor to all of council, with this request, what we do normally would be letting the Fair Board know about this. Aware, and one of the things though that we do need to add to the resolution is that they do provide a certificate of insurance naming the municipality of Tweed, and if the overflow parking is on the fairgrounds, it would be safe to say to name the Tweed Hungerford Agricultural Society.
Do they have to park on the track just to keep it? Can't they just park in our parking lot by the?
Our parking lot is not large enough.
No, I mean the arena parking lot and then just walk over.
We could do that. We could put that in there.
Yeah.
That would be,
That would be easier, and then that way we don't have to involve the Fair
Yes.
Board. Councillor Fleeler.
Your Worship, I think I read that there's another function taking place at the same time that night. Is that true?
that is the tournament. That is the tournament. However, it will not affect the parking on the north side of the arena. So that parking, there is plenty of parking over there.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Yes, go ahead, Councillor Valiquette.
I just think it's incumbent upon us, if it's area that falls within the purview of the Fair Board, that whatever group is requesting to utilize it, they should go to the Fair Board. Just like if the Fair Board gets a request and it involves area that is municipal property, the Fair Board directs them to us and does not assume that it's appropriate for them to let them use the property without our permission.
What we're saying in this case, though, is we're not going to have them use the property. Yeah, yes, I agree. Any other questions? Be it resolved that the Tweed Lions Club are approved to use the Tweed recreation area, including the washroom, soccer field, and municipal parking lot at both the recreation area and the arena for an ATV run and barbecue to be held September 7th, 2024, and furthermore, that they have appropriate insurance to indemnify the municipality of any liability. All in favor? And maybe that what they could do as a courtesy to the Fair Board, let them know that they're doing this, but they're only using municipal property. Okay, thank you. City of St. Catharines. Can I have a mover and a seconder to table the City of St. Catharines information regarding the Green Roads pilot project, encouraging municipalities to explore and adopt sustainable road surfacing alternatives? Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Fleeler, thank you. Deputy Mayor DeMarche. It's interesting because Councillor Fleeler has been approached by someone that he and Ryan had met at the Good Roads Conference, which is something similar to this. And we will be making a recommendation that that particular group comes as a delegation to share with us, because it is something we want to look at. I'm going to turn it over to Ryan.
Through the mayor to council, I've already reached out to some of the representatives. They'll be attending our next meeting in August. So they're gonna come down and share some information with us. So.
Okay, thank you. So then, any questions on this? Be it resolved that council receive the information regarding the Green Roads pilot project, encouraging municipalities to explore and adopt sustainable road servicing alternatives. All in favor? Thank you. And is it biodiffusion that we were actually talking about that's coming, or is? That's correct. That's right. Could I move in a second to table Biodiffusion Technologies request a virtual meeting to discuss the proprietary innovative technology for road paving and resurfacing? Could I move in a second to Councillor Fleeler, Deputy Mayor Demarche? Any questions? Should be interesting. Thank you. Be it resolved that council directs staff to arrange Biodiffusion Technologies Inc. to make a presentation at future council meeting. All in favor? Thank you. We're going to be moving in a closed meeting now, so I'll have to ask our guests to vacate. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate you all being here. Thank you. That's the guy who called me the idiot. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table us going into close, please? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Be it resolved that council go into a closed meeting at 10:15. Thank you. All in favor? I think we should definitely yeah. Yeah, just mention that to Gloria and Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Take care.
bye now. You're good? We're good? We had a notification of closed meeting and staff direction. Could I have a mover and a seconder to instruct staff to follow council direction from the closed meeting, please? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. All in favor? Thank you. Now, just to let everyone know, Councillor Palmetier had to leave. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table correspondent information, please? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. Okay, okay, all in favor, I guess. Thank you. Now we'll move on to a request for support from municipalities. The first one is the City of Brantford. And then there was a Town of Tecumseh looking for free water testing, and then Smith Falls for provincial regulations needed to restrict keeping of non-native exotic. Are there any questions on any of those? Yes, Councillor
Your
Finn.
worship, I support all three of them.
Yeah, I think they're ones that we've already.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I mean, some of them are yours too, isn't it? Yeah, animal one.
probably.
So let's support all of those. All, okay. So thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Okay, and then then we have a number of support for Tweed resolutions, and that there are resolutions that we've already passed, just to let everybody know that have a meeting with Sue Lookout, the mayor of Sue Lookout, on Tuesday or something next week, and Councillor Valiquette is sitting in on that with me. They want to further pursue the motion on the OPP. They also have huge costs that they have to incur. So, okay, and then there's just we have in here Hastings County, the Sterling base, and then we have request from Growing Canada's Community Canopies funding application, which I've brought to Rochelle's attention. Then there was the Eastern Wardens Caucus June 2024 newsletter. And then there were regulations for importance in the safe use of lithium batteries from Autonomy. Ministry of Agriculture and Fair changes to the Planning Act and Development charges. And the list goes on. AMO and advocacy for homelessness encampments. Now, Gloria, is there in here about us writing a letter of support for the AMO homelessness report that they did? If we could take a look at that. They asked us to table it, which we did, but maybe it would be good to also issue a resolution in support of. Can I get a seconder on that? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh and Councillor Valiquette. And then I've tabled a number of reports. I just want to make sure that I didn't. Okay. Okay, or the Rural Transit Program seeking assistance. This is the Hastings Support Network, Central Hastings Support Network, and they are having issues. What happens is the province does not give them their green funding as applied for by Marmarin Lake until about October and November. So they need the money now.
They've been having that trouble for a while.
It's ridiculous. And so I think what we need to do is write a letter of support. Gloria, if you can reach out to Victoria, ask who she would like us to direct that letter of support, saying that this organization needs its money at the beginning of the year, like other organizations in Belleville when they get their green funding from the province, the gas tax, provincial gas tax money. Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder for that, please? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Any questions on that?
Your worship, I just want to make a point. We can continue to see small municipalities asking for help and continuously drugs, housing, financial support for infrastructure. We get nothing.
No.
We
Sorry.
we need to. Like, we need to get full support of AIM. We need the 444 municipalities to stick together and say, look, we need stuff done. They're wasting so much money. They bought out the beer contract was $255 million. For what? It's done next year. They're gonna destroy the Ontario Science Center.
Mhm.
It's condemned. The building's condemned. All of a sudden it's condemned. More tax dollars down the hole. We need. So you're gonna move the Ontario Science Center. We don't have roads to get there. Does that make sense to you? Anyway.
I know we can go
We-
on and on and on, and
and
we've done so.
We need AMO to step up to the plate and say, look it, we need shit done.
Okay,
We need it done now.
okay.
And I'm sorry, but
Nope.
that's.
Thank you. Gloria, in regards to the Central Hastings Support Network request for their gas tax rebate, let's direct a letter to Rick Bressie and telling him that we would like the government to move on that as soon as possible. Okay, thank you. Okay, so all in favor of all of these reports and everything as we discussed, thank you. Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder to table the committee board reports, please? Thank you, Councilor Valiquette. Thank you, Councilor Fleeler. Any questions on either the Committee of Adjustment Planning of May 31st, 2024, or the Central Hastings update, April 17th, 2024 detachment board? Oh, you want to comment on that?
Mayor, I would just like to comment, our last meeting, it's not published here. Staff Sergeant Locke has announced his retirement. And the start of his replacement will begin probably within the next couple of months. And now that prior to that, as a goodwill gesture from the OPP, they would allow the chair of CPAC to sit in those interviews and it really didn't have any say. That all changed now with the formation of the detachment boards. They're obligated to have us and we have a voice now.
And who is the public voice on that? The public appointment?
Oh, we're in the middle now with drafting what we want to see, and the applications will be the same going to all municipalities. And once that's out, then the resumes come in. As a board, we sit down and we decide on who we think best fits, but the best interest of all 5 municipalities as a group.
So how
So
many positions?
just one.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Be it resolved that council receive the committee board minutes as presented, all in favor. Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder for the conformatory bylaw, please? Thank you, Councilor Valiquette. Thank you, Deputy Mayor LaMarche. Be it resolved that conformatory bylaw number 2024-59 be ready first, second, third, and final time passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 9th day of July 2024. All in favor. Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to adjourn today's meeting, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor LaMarche. Thank you, Councilor Valiquette. Be it resolved that council adjourn at Lucas 10:52.